Hello, beginning programming. It is I, Mr. Pelche. I am not in the room with you today. I apologize for that, but I will be back soon. But I still wanted to show you guys about array lists. So what array lists are all about is it's a kind of data structure, which is what arrays are. Arrays are a structure that holds data, right? Lots of different kinds of data. They're a little bit different, but whoops, Google Drive, I've run out of space. That's okay. Hopefully I can record this video. So anyways, array lists are like arrays, but they can grow and shrink. That's really, really, really powerful in gaming because the amount of things that are on the screen at any given time can, greatly increase or decrease depending on where you are in the game. So I am going to do a simple demonstration outside of the project that we're working on, and then you can adapt this to your project. So you can add in things like power-ups and explosion particles and bullets or whatever you want to add in that you don't create at the beginning of the game, you create on the fly during the running project, so that you don't have to create every bullet and every power-up before everything gets started. So I have a particle class over here. It's nothing special. Check out the x and y, the dx, dy, the d. This is all the stuff we've been doing. We can send it x and y parameters so it gets told where to be created, but otherwise everything's random. It shows itself. It moves itself. It's nothing very different than what we've done so far. So what we're going to do is we're going to make an array list of particles. So, this is different than an array. We have to specify it this way. You say the word array list, and then in these angle brackets, that's like shift comma, shift period, you can then put in the type of thing that is contained in your array list. And I'm going to call this array list particles. So that is us making an array list. It doesn't quite exist yet, so I'll make a size, whatever, 600 by 600, and it'll actually instantiate the list itself. So I can say particles equals new array list particle, which is pretty ugly syntax. Oh my gosh, with the parentheses and the angle brackets. So I feel for you if this seems a little bit weird and new, but this is really what you do to make the list. Notice that in an array, at this point you would be specifying sort of how big this array list, this array was, right? You have to say it has 60 elements or 1,000 elements or whatever. Here we don't have to do that. It's going to start off empty. So that's spectacular. I'm glad that we start off empty. And then we can add things on the fly. However, we do need to have a loop that goes through the array list to animate anything that's inside of the array list. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that in draw. I'll put background 0 to clear things out, and then we'll do a loop. So the loop has to count from, usually we count from 0 to n, where n is the size of the array, or n minus 1. But here we don't actually know the n, because at any given time, at any given frame in our project, the array list could be full of hundreds of things or full of nothing. So that's okay, because we can find out that n by asking the array list particles what its size is. So you don't have to do this in 2 steps, but you can assign n right here. You can say particles dot size. So now we know sort of how big the array list is. We stored an n, and then our loop is basically very similar to what we had before. We have I as our index counter. We'll start at 0, and then we'll say while I is less than n, we're going to do our particles showing and acting. It's a little bit different. But in the past, we would have done something like this: particles sub I dot show. But that's not how we do it now in array lists. What we do with array lists is we get the particle from the array list, and then we tell that particle to show and grow. So we're going to make a temporary particle. It's temporary. It's just a kind of a nickname or placeholder for any given particle. So give it a pretty basic temporary name, like P, for example. These aren't going to be saved. They're just going to be temporary structures so that we can manipulate the various particles inside. So I'm going to say equals particles dot get I. So at first, when I is 0, this will get element 0 from particles. And array lists use the same indexing structure that arrays do, so they start at 0 and all that good stuff. And then once we get it, we have to give it a nickname like p, for example, in order for us to manipulate it. So then we can say p.show p.act. And then of course I++ to go to the next one. So great, if we run this, nothing happens. But note that it runs. So that's actually a little bit remarkable because there's no particles inside of here right now. But this doesn't break anything, right? Just because we have particle size 0 means that, you know, we don't actually do the loop. It doesn't do anything until we put something into our array list. So let's put something into our array list. Now, where you put this is going to be significant, and it's not going to be where I'm putting it. But you might put this code, you know, if you want to do explosions, maybe you'd put this code where the where you break the brick, where you set dead to true, or is it alive? You set alive to false in your brick code. You know, if this is a power up, it gets generated when you break the brick. You know, same sort of idea. You can put this code elsewhere. I'm going to put it with a mouse press or release. I'll put pressed. So in void mouse pressed, I'll show you how to add something to the list. So basically, you have to you just say particles dot add, and then you say, you know, new particle. And our particle, if you recall, requires us to send it the x and y. So in this case, I'll send it mouse x, mouse y. And they'll just get added to the particles list, because that's what .add does. It adds it, creates a new particle, adds it to the list, and then immediately the size of the list will increase, and so this loop will start to run. And one at a time, it'll show and act each particle. They'll just happen on the fly. So if I run this, let's bring this over, I press the mouse, it just makes particles. And you can spit them out all over the place. The particles didn't exist, and every time we add one, you know, we're increasing the size of the array list. So you can imagine that we're going to have some problems if we keep going. I mean, we can get a lot of them. We're not seeing any drops in frames, right? Like, nothing visible anyways. So, you know, we're not going to worry too much about removing them for this project. But you might anticipate that for a more robust or complex game, we probably should decrease the size when we don't need those things. But we're not doing that today. So you don't need it specifically for this project, I don't think. If you do, we'll find out very soon. So that's good. What about making a whole bunch of them? Well, how about we do a loop? We could do int I equals 0 while I is less than, let's make 50 of them in a loop. So this means when I press the mouse, then this will happen 50 times. I'll add 50 particles at a time per mouse click. So run it. Oh, wait, don't do that. I forgot. What did I forget? Oh, I++. Oh my gosh. Infinite loop. Would have been painful. Just caught myself. Okay, ready? Pew! They all just explode outwards. Pew, 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 pew. And now at this point, I'm probably going to start having some lag decrease. So, you know, you can have lots of fun with this. This could be fireworks, you know, exploding outwards. This could be your block doing something like that. But of course, the mystery, I think, still lies in where do you put this code? So again, it doesn't have to be in mouse pressed. You could have this in another class, so that a class, when it dies, adds particles to the list. And then this engine here, this really is an engine. This is the most simple possible game engine, but it's not really a game engine. It's a simple engine of animation. This engine is constantly working, constantly looping, ready for you to add in a particle. We're not going to do removing today, but look forward to that to make our code a little bit more efficient. So I want you guys to try that and think about how you might, you know, add in explosions into your bricks or something along those lines. Okay, thank you.